Hello everyone, welcome back for another week of what's going on in the market, updating you on what's going on. Paul is out of town this week. He is at an AI conference, learning about all the nuances of artificial intelligence in our industry. While he's off learning about the new AI, I'm old school. We're here to talk actual intelligence. Before I get started, marketing folks want me to remind you that there is a seminar this week. Should be a link below. Feel free to click on that registration. For those of you that have been to a lot of seminars, you might be happy to hear that I will not be doing this one. So you'll get a different face and a different voice. But by all means, we do have a seminar this week. Feel free to click on that subscribe button below. And for those of you that don't know, my name is David Mott, Director of Advanced Planning and a Financial Advisor here at Nexus One Financial Advisors. As of today, another week of ping pong. I feel like I'm saying that every week. Market's down about 0.5% overall speaking. Much of that in the materials and industrial sectors. Most sectors were down across the board. One group that kind of got it together was tech. Tech starting to come back to life a little bit, and because they are so heavily weighted in the market, it brought that average up a little bit. Year to date, that brings the markets down about 1% when we add in this half point that it had retreated. A lot of things going on, a lot of new pieces of news come forward that we're watching out for. So let's get into it. So there is a lot of data that's about to come out this week that we are monitoring, a lot of points that we watch very closely. This week we will have some CPI numbers coming out. That's the Consumer Price Index. Inflation is what a lot of folks like to refer it to. Housing starts, a lot of that information will be coming out, as well as the PCE, personal consumption, that Jerome Powell, his purple ties, and the Fed love to analyze. That's a big number, as well as GDP and manufacturing new orders. So there's a lot of key points of data that are coming out later this week. Very closely monitoring. So far, analysts expect some good news, but we're monitoring that very closely. Of course, the other situation we're monitoring is the activity going on in Iran. I've talked about that a lot in recent weeks. For those of you a little late to the game, feel free to watch some past videos on the points that we're monitoring. Crude has somewhat stabilized. West Texas Intermediaries, Brent, both hovering in the high 80s. That is a good thing. South of $100 a barrel, things seem to be okay for the moment. Again, if this takes weeks as Washington is anticipating, should be not a big issue. If this does drag on, something that we are monitoring. One thing that not a lot of folks are paying attention to is with this pullback generated by oil and the point of contention in the Strait, we're noticing that a lot of those bond markets are having a bit of a pullback, many of them down over the last year. And it brings up something that I like to talk to a lot of my clients about. What should you be asking your advisor? And one thing I would ask your advisor is, am I too heavy in bonds? Is my bond allocation correct? The bonds serve a number of purposes. They smooth out volatility. But as we see in weeks like the ones we've just had, bonds can be volatile. There is a fixed income approach. Certain bonds have tax exempt features, a number of reasons to have bonds. But with the volatility that we see, bonds are not immune to every type of volatility. It's important to have that conversation with your advisor, why you have the bonds, what's the purpose of them, and do you have too much or too little bond? That is something that if I was a client sitting across from my advisor, that is a question I'd be asking this week. There's a number, the bond market is far and wide, something we monitor very closely on that allocation. But again, everybody's need for bonds is different. While we are monitoring a number of points and types of bonds in our portfolio, how much bonds is a conversation I strongly encourage every client of Nexus One Financial to have with their advisor.